Okay, today I want to talk a little bit about glucosamine and its benefits, what it can do for your body, for your life. Glucosamine occurs naturally in your body. It's a natural substance. It's constantly working to build your connective tissue, your cartilage, your ligaments, and many other structures and components in your body as well. What a lot of people don't know is that it also lubricates and strengthens the joints, enabling stuff to move smoothly and glide smoothly, which, of course, is much less destructive and prevents that inflammation within your connective tissues, your muscle tissues, your joints, which including, ligaments, tendons. Every aspect of your soft tissue is benefited by glucosamine. It's absolutely just essential for healthy joints and youthful skin, which again, a lot of people don't realize. Glucosamine, because it hydrates the skin and soft tissues, it's extremely good for your skin. It makes your skin appear more youthful. It softens your skin so you don't have to rub lotion on it all day because it hydrates your skin. It increases and promotes the production of naturally occurring hyaluronic acid, which most people have heard of, because it's in most beauty products, because it's so effective at holding on to moisture. Hence, it's extremely good for your skin, for the health of the skin, and for the visual aspect of your skin. Obviously, young, hydrated skin, or I should say hydrated skin, appears to be much more youthful and young looking because, well, when we start out in life, we have ample production of all those things. That's why we look so wrinkle-free and smooth and good. When it comes to the connective tissue, your cartilage, your ligaments, your joints, your tendons, even the synovial fluid within your joints, the glucosamine, it hydrates all that because it holds moisture within the cells of all your soft tissues. And so it ends up lubricating everything. It strengthens it. It gives it back its integrity, again, like it had when you were young. Most of the glucosamine, it comes from like shellfish, where they make the supplements. Animal bones and connective tissue are also really good sources of glucosamine. It becomes quite clear that in the old days, in the distant past, well, maybe not quite so distant actually, where people lived mainly out of their gardens and out of the woods, whatever they grew and shot or raised on their little farms, the animals, they cooked everything. I mean, they cooked those foods, those bones, until the bone marrow came out. They cooked all the tendons and the ligaments and all the little cartilages out of the chickens, the beef, until all that stuff broke down into a broth within the soups. And consequently, that nourished human beings back then, and they got a natural supply of glucosamines out of those soups and those broths. Nowadays, we don't quite live like that, so we need to supplement, because you don't have a woman standing in the kitchen for 8 hours preparing these high quality broths and soups. Instead, she's out probably working a job, earning a living too in this modern day. And anyway, as a result, the rest of the family kind of has suffered because you don't have those really good homemade broths and soups being cooked anymore like they used to be. So consequently, we become deficient in a lot of things, and glucosamines are one thing we end up deficient in our diets. Another thing I'd like to point out about glucosamine that's so important is a lot of people suffer from dry eyes and dry skin and the dry mucous membranes. Glucosamine hydrates your mucous membranes, and it helps dramatically with dry eyes. There's a lot of other dry things that we don't realize are affecting us that really is, right down to even in our arteries. Glucosamine helps our arteries, and it helps prevent the inflammation in the arteries that eventually leads to the arteriosclerosis. Our heart muscle, that suffers with inflammation and dryness, and the glucosamine helps with the inflammation within the heart tissue, and it helps get rid of the inflammation within the heart tissue, consequently allowing the heart tissue to heal and repair. So it's really good for the heart muscle. It's good for cardiovascular in general. If we don't have a balance of moisture within our body, if things dry out, just look at it in nature. When things dry out, it dies. It's not good. And the body's the same way. When you dry, I mean, you turn to ash. I mean, you slowly just creak and everything starts failing and inflaming, and eventually inflammation becomes the end of you or whichever organ or body system that is inflamed. It helps gut inflammation. So it helps with inflammation in a lot of areas, not just joints, that people would normally not attribute to glucosamine helping with. But I am a firm believer in it. Gotten personal results. When people take it, I think you start getting results literally day 1, day 2, but you got to take enough of it. A lot of times people treat it as a drug and they just take one little pill. You know, it's naturally occurring and you can put a fair amount in you, no side effects, and really start hydrating everything and strengthening anywhere from the joints to your gut health, to your heart, to your cardio, to your vascular system. I mean, it all needs that elasticity, which is a result of properly hydrated tissues. You know, when something loses its elasticity, it's going to shrink. When something dries, it shrinks. Think of your joints. They shrink, they tighten, they shorten. Pretty soon you're pulling. They're shortened ligaments and shortened tendons as a result of drying. When they become shortened and then you turn the wrong way, all of a sudden, oh, my back is out, because they're not flexible. So they pull the bone with it. Pretty soon, yeah, of course, now you need the chiropractor because you need an alignment, because your tendons, your ligaments are drying, they're shortening, they're pulling your bones out of alignment. Your cartilage shrinks and sort of becomes brittle when it dries, and as it shrinks, your bones start rubbing bone on bone. They start hitting nerves that shouldn't be hit, that are protected by healthy cartilage. But when cartilage shrinks or gets damaged, now all of a sudden it's bone on bone, the bone hits the nerves, you get chronic pain in your joints, and people attribute it to aging, or just they say, hey, it's genetic. Well, no, you're dehydrating, you're drying up. It's not just age anymore that dries us up. It's diet. It's lack of proper diet. It's lack of the proper components we need to stay hydrated. Because hydrated ain't just about water. It's about things that hold water within the body, such as glucosamine, hyaluronic acid, things of that nature. It hydrates everything, including the skin, even said to help remove dark spots. Glucosamine, it is an anti-inflammatory systemically, and it's also an antioxidant systemically. I mean, if one wants to have healthy joints, intestines, guts, blood vessels, eyes, skin, you gotta increase those glucosaminoglycans. They have to be increased, which are naturally occurring in your body, but again, we don't get them now through the diet. Another thing I wanted to say about glucosamine is there's a couple different kinds of glucosamines. There's glucosamine sulfate, and then there's the glucosamine HCl, it's called. I personally have always gotten the best results with glucosamine sulfate. I think it's the better absorbed form. That's what we sell, is the glucosamine sulfate. That's something to be aware of too, because a lot of people will take the glucosamine HCl and they won't feel the results. Then they think, that's just baloney, glucosamine don't work, it's all bullshit. But it's not. You really, in my opinion, you have to go with the glucosamine sulfate, and you have to take enough. Honestly, I take probably 8 to 12 grams a day, and I have to. If I don't take it, within days, I'll feel that dryness coming on. I will feel the dryness in the skin. I'll feel dryness in my eyes. From personal experience, I have also taken it for years, and I can confirm that over time, if you're consistent and you do it every day, it will actually rebuild cartilage. Many people in the past have said to me, well, you can't rebuild cartilage, because that's what their doctors have said or their chiropractors have said. They said, well, you can't rebuild cartilage. You have chronic degenerative joint disease. That's the famous saying for anybody with joint pain or back pain, or I think it's completely hogwash. I personally have been through that. I've been labeled that. Many, many years ago, I've been told that. I was told that 20 years ago I had chronic degenerative joint disease. Well, my discs since, I have hydrated, therefore expanded. I have healed my tendons, my ligaments, my joints, my synovial fluid, the cartilage itself I have regrown, especially by adding vitamin C. Every single time I take glucosamine, I take vitamin C. Don't just take 200 milligrams. If you're serious about rebuilding cartilage, you want to take 3 to 10 grams of vitamin C daily with glucosamine. If you're consistent, you will rebuild your joint cartilage. And plus, that's a dramatic anti-inflammatory in itself, the vitamin C. Plus, it promotes circulation, which is another thing a lot of people don't know. But anyway, back to the glucosamine. It can solve a lot of inflammatory problems. And it's just one basis everybody should be doing if they have any form of joint discomfort, skin dryness, mucous membrane dryness, eye dryness, any form of dryness. And you probably have dryness you don't even feel. Even if you don't have joint pain, you probably have dryness in your vascular system. We all have a degree of inflammation in our vascular system. And the glucosamine is wonderful at diminishing the inflammation within our vascular system and within our heart muscle itself and our gut. And the inflammation in our gut too, which again, we all have those to some degree, depending on how we live, to what degree. This glucosamine is, even though it's fairly inexpensive, it's extremely valuable for your entire body.